ETC, we start with 1 hour chart. We want to see how we can look for trade. That's mean we can analyze the chart. First of all, if you refer to our analysis in my last video, since the price also in this move, we mentioned we're looking at this correction. If we get any trade set up for buy, we will take it. If the price drop, we just let it go. And as we can see, the price drop and we didn't have any trade set up to look for even sell. Okay. And beside that, if we put this low and relative to the previous one, if we refer to the indicators, we see we have a divergence. Okay. But what I need to highlight here that nowadays the way the market is moving, all of them, they are within the correction. Okay, as we can see here based on daily chart. That's why if you want to look for trade, any trade, mostly we try to look for buy and we consider it as a short-term trade. We need to be quite careful. All right. It doesn't mean we cannot look for the long term. What I mean by short term, we take the trade if it's not moving in our direction, we take out the trade. We don't stay with the trade. Okay. And now we want to see what's the next. Whether we can consider this one as a correction related to this is the only way we can look at this. Even we look at this, the bigger picture, we see almost at the lowest the price. Now we want to see whether we can look for the reversal or not. That's mean if we get any trade set up for buy, we will take it. And right now we're looking at this. Okay. Technically, there is a possibility we put this one as an internal flat based on lower time frame and we wait for the price at least to drop to the previous low, which is this one. If I put my line here, which does mean we price drop somewhere around 49.6, around 50. This is the best things we can talk about because at that times at least we can confirm with the internal correction. But we don't need to wait for the price drop to 49 or 50 before we look for the trade. In this case, I mean, based on lower time frame, if we get any trade set up for buy, we'll take it. The only thing is, if it's not moving in our direction, we just take out the trade. Because the only things I wanted to highlight it, we want to see whether we can put these two relative to each other as a flat for price to drop. If this one happen, mostly we can get better reversal, okay, rather than the price reverse from here. Because mostly if the price reverse from here, we can expect we will be within this correction. Okay, and right now we want to see, as I mentioned, we don't need to wait for the price to retest the previous low, which is somewhere around 49 and 50 before we take the trade for, before we look for buy. That's mean if we get any trade set up for buy, we will take it from here, and with the breakout of the previous top, we start to manage it. Because right now we're looking at this correction. Still we can put this three waves structure in relative to this for one move up. Then from there we want to see whether this bigger picture can give us a confirmation for continuation for the breakout, or the price can give us one more drop. All right, we don't need to go into the details how we can look at the chart, and right now we're looking at this flat. That's mean if we get any reversal as a short move flag, we will take it, and with the we wants to see the breakout of 60.7. Okay, and if the price is going to drop as a corrective similar to what we have here, just let it go. We know the best option is if the price can break the previous low, and even we can look for the divergence. But right now I don't see any reversal or any trade setup. And even if you move to 1 hour chart, we see we have a divergence, but we don't see any trade setup, and still we can expect the price to continue and drop, as I explained based on 4 hour chart. From now, if we want to look for trade, we have to get the trade setup. Simply, we cannot buy. And even if we get the trade setup, we get the trade, we see it's not moving in our direction within the 3 to 4 hours. We are not going to keep the trade. If we can move our stop loss to break even, if not, we just take out the trade. Because the way the market is moving is something like, whether we call it the manipulating, they are manipulated, or it's within the correction for the bigger, as I mentioned, based on the bigger time frame. We need to be quite careful. That's why I mentioned any trade is a short-term trade. Okay, even we have a divergence, but we don't have any trade setup. The only way to look for trade, if we get any sharp move, flag, or correction, we take the trade. Okay, but right now we don't see any trade setup. Buying or selling right now doesn't make sense. In this case, we just follow the chart. We wait for the trade setup. In this case, if I see any update or trade setup, I will share. Thanks.